1980s manga was on some crazy shit. I'm not gonna necessarily hold you. There's like 3 different manga that I ended up finding that was honestly just really strange. But for the time, because it was the Lolicon boom at the time, it makes a shit ton of sense. Let me explain. The reason why I'm making this video is essentially because on Twitter there was like a production company that was being, they had to delete a post because Lolicon related material, which was kind of annoying because you already know what really caused that is Twitter people being mad for no damn reason. And essentially when it comes down to things, they had a character from Don Dracula named Chocola. Now, I have never heard of this show, never seen anything about it, so I had to invest my time into researching some things. And apparently, what people were pissed off about is essentially the creator of, Don Dracula, or the creator, the same creator that's, known for Astro Boy, essentially was like, you know what, they didn't make this character to follow the Lolicon trend. They just made a lolly character just to make him, and in his own words, at some point I found in like I forget where I found it, but he was saying that basically he made this character as like a tool, essentially, I guess, to use it to build himself up in the industry. But at the very same time, I feel like that's a bit cap. I ain't gonna hold you, because if he was using a lolly character for just using him as a tool, I feel like that's a low-key kind of cap. I'm not gonna lie, because in Don Dracula there is damn near no lewdness when it comes to anything of the show, outside of Dracula being a pervert trying to, drink virgin's blood, but that's about it. But when it comes down to things, Chocola didn't have anything herself outside of episode 6, where she got beat up by some damn demon rat for some damn reason. I don't necessarily know. This show has literally no translations unless you want to listen to it in Japanese or Spanish. But when it comes down to things, they basically had 2 shots where Chocola did something remotely lewd or was in a situation. One shot was when she was basically about to jump out the window. I guess she was about to turn into a bat and fly somewhere. But it turned out the window to jump. She was about to go out the window, and we got to saw her panties for the first time, which was pink as shit. Then later down the line with that same episode, she ended up basically getting bodied by this demon-possessed rat or something like that, and essentially lose all her clothes at some point, and now we get to see her pink bra as well. So you get to see the full acid of what Chocola has. So that's like the only thing. And I ain't gonna necessarily lie. Was it, if he was just gonna use Lolly in his own way, I'm pretty sure he didn't have to strip Chocola down like that. So nah, I do feel like he kind of capping on that just a little bit, honestly. And honestly, learning about that whole scenario with the creator's work, and kind of like how he was with Lolicon, and then the people around him was like it too, and I started learning about other people, which honestly deserve their own video, and I ain't got time to just kind of do it for this one. So I mainly just wanted to be kind of curious and look through a little bit more of 1980s manga and see what's actually out there, because there's 2. One, there was like a dojin, another one was like, an actual manga that Shonen Jump Champion had a long time ago. And honestly, I kind of wanted to just bring up these 2 because they are kind of outlandish. Even though there's no translation for one of them outside the dojin, the whole other one was a bit crazy. I think the one that's called Andro-Trio, if I'm getting that right, I think that's what it's called. And essentially, I don't know what the story is. I deadass don't know what the story is. I really couldn't tell you. Hi, it's future editor me. When it comes down to things, I found out about the actual story, and apparently there is actual translated version of at least one of the manga chapters I've ended up finding out. And I actually found out that the story is about that the girl is not a robot herself. She is an elementary student that is being a model for this fictional robot character. For some reason, I still don't know yet because I haven't read the whole thing. But I wanted to put this in the video mainly because I know in the future I'm going to talk about, at least in this video, about the aspect of, is she wearing a diaper, or is this a lolly, or is she wearing like a panties or whatever, because I couldn't figure that out because there was no description about that, which, I do talk about that in the part of the video where I do say it is panties because I think it is, which I was correct. And I just wanted to put this in here mainly because, again, I'm gonna go on a crazy ass tangent. So just keep in mind, that's what the manga is about. that she is wearing panties. This is a lolly material thing, because if it wasn't, it'll be T-Con. But anyway, that's essentially all I have to say. Back to you, old ass me. Like, from what I can tell, it's like this android elementary student who essentially just wear diapers, and every time she wear diapers and like you press on it, some weird shit happens. Like, she had one of a tiger or a cat one time, and then you press it, the cat actually came to real life and just started doing stuff, which was insanely weird. So, and from what I can tell, you have to be wearing the panties or diapers to kind of just, you know, have it to actually take effect. So the random people in the show or manga, whatever, essentially has to press up on her just so they can activate whatever nonsense. I guess it just like the look of what she's wearing or something like that, you know? I guess, but I'm still ultimately very, very confused about what happens. At least from what I've read, honestly, the show itself make it look like diapers. I'm going to say it might be like panties, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily sure. I'm going to say panties, because if it's actually diapers, then this wouldn't be Lolicon, this would be T-Con, and I don't think even with how some of the characters looked back then in the 1980s, and they still have some features that kind of look a little identical to maybe some Asian kind of aesthetic features and whatever, I still think this is more of a Lolicon than T-Con. So let's just say this is Lolicon and that's a pair of panties. But when it comes down to things, yeah, that's like the whole damn thing about the show. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what's anything going on. You just have random lolly just being like on the bed or something, and then she's just wearing panties, and sometimes she's not wearing anything at all. But when it comes down to things, you just have these pair of panties, you tap on them hoes like it's like an iPad screen, and then you basically just summon whatever beast comes out of that hoe. I don't necessarily know. I don't know. I think there's multiple girls in this show. I think. I'm not, again, necessarily sure, because there is deadass no translation. And, you know, it's just weird. This is one of those weird 1980s manga that makes damn well no type of sense, but it's crazy that it exists though. 100%. Like, again, if something like something like this could never ever exist, you know, in normal anime at this point in time. Nothing like this could ever truly exist. The concept could probably exist, but it probably wouldn't happen for a lolly character, you know? And majority of people will probably be like, well, this anime just is in bad taste or something like that. Majority of people will probably say something like that. So, you know, if a concept like this can exist, because technically multiple shows have done stuff with panties before. Panty and Stocking, Magical Girl Sight kind of done this with panties a little bit. You know, there's shows that can use that concept, but on a lolly, and she's actually young, I'm pretty sure the internet would pretty much freak the hell out. Granted, I would have no problem with it because, again, it's fiction, but still, people would freak the hell out, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And honestly, I probably wouldn't even be surprised if the Japanese government would kind of come through with their, you know, law and bill kind of trying to put a lid on this type of thing, so I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway. But that's just the manga that we found. Now the dojin that I found, by the exact same person I think that made, you know, the Panty Andro-Trio manga, made a dojin as well, which is wild as shit, and this is by far the most wildest dojin I've ever read. So essentially, this Yakuza man is basically had a hard day at work, and essentially he's like, you know what I'm about to do now? Take a nice ass bath in this hot spring, because every boy needs some time off. So essentially, he taking his bath, right? And this lolly comes out the damn water like she came out the fountain of youth or some shit. And so she's just like, let me tell you the tale of my origin, Yakuza man. So essentially, she's like, I was in the bathroom, right? And so I felt on myself, and that felt pretty damn good. So I started masturbating. But then a bath spirit come out of nowhere. The god of bath came through and was like, oh, so you trying to masturbate and you defiling my bathroom? I bet then I'm gonna defile your ass. And that's literally how it went. Man literally was going on this whole tirade talking about I'm about to F this girl and essentially just tease her for 3 hours straight. Dead ass. Who would take? I would be concerned if I heard someone in the bath for 3 hours. I'm thinking you're dead. Anyway, when it comes down to things, she was basically getting fingered all through with her ass, her vagina, the works. Literally the freaking works. And so she was played with so much to the point when she hit climax, she became a water spirit. What? I have never heard some shit like this before. You got played with so much, then you became a water spirit. This is just delusional at this point. I ain't gonna hold you. And then she came through after like her backstory ended, and she was basically like, however, there is hope that I can turn back to be human, and there is only one possible way of doing this. I must have sex with a Yakuza man. And I was like, what? What kind of backwards, not even existing ass knowledge is that? That doesn't make any type of sense. So when it comes down to things, you know, you think, oh, well, he's finna get some play from this lolly, right? He's finna go clap this lolly. No. This man does quite literally the unthinkable. This mother effer pulls out a gun from the water and points it at her vagina and blasts her ass. What? I've never heard of anything like that. I've seen a lot of ridiculous random shit in anime, but this is by far what takes the cake for me. First of all, there's so many questions. Why did you bring a gun into the bathtub? That's number one. And then number two, how did a mortal gun blast a spirit and actually kill that person? How? And then at the end of the book, he was just like, I can't stand these damn brats. What? What was the whole story like? Fake as shit? What, was she not a water spirit? But why? I'm so confused. I'm more confused about putting the gun directly by her vagina and blasting that. I do not understand. I am so confused. Again, this is by far the most wildest dojin I think I've ever freaking read in my entire life. I'm gonna try to show some things, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. I couldn't even make this up if I tried. Point is, when it comes down to things, the 1980s was a weird time where a lot of weird concepts were tried, a lot of weird concepts end up happening, and I ain't gonna necessarily lie, I'm kind of curious about what other weird 1980s concepts is actually out there for lollies and stuff. Like, I genuinely want to see what else is out there. I wish honestly I could go to Japan at the moment and then just like travel over there to find some of that made lolly manga content back then, or dojin content back then, and then I would like to, you know, see what's the mindset back then, see what everybody else was kind of doing. What kind of stuff did you cook up back then to get to this point? Like, I dead ass would like to know. I would like to know anybody that is like from Japan from that time period that does make drawing and stuff and actually talk to that person, because I just wanted to know what the hell were half of these concepts. Honestly, these are shits I never heard of or thought I would ever hear of. But anyway, that's all I'm really gonna give you for today. Just eat on that, honestly, because again, the 1980s when it comes to the Lolicon boom was a crazy and weird time, but it was funny as shit. But at the same time, it's also interesting again to learn about stuff. You can't necessarily learn about a concept that you might not necessarily like if you just don't learn about it, honestly. A lot of aunties come through and be like, oh, well, I don't like lolly because it's a weird concept. But why is it weird? What is it that makes you hate it, honestly? Because a lot of people probably just hate it just because they hate it and everybody else hate it. No one learns about anything. So that's why I like to, you know, that's why I kind of wanted to bring this up for an actual video. Also, when it comes to Don Dracula, ain't nobody talks about Don Dracula. I'm by far the second person on YouTube that has done a video related to Don Dracula, which is actually crazy. There's like one other person, but you know, it's not talking about the ways I'm talking about it. But anyway, that's essentially all I really want to say for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on else. Also follow me on socials. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon is available as well. And until then, it's boy Jay, sign off. Have a blessed day.